The storm had raged for days, an unrelenting force that drowned the land beneath a torrent of rain. The river swelled, spilling over its banks, consuming everything in its path. Trees were torn from the earth, fences reduced to splinters, and the farmhouse that had stood strong for generations now bore the scars of nature's fury. When the sun finally emerged from behind the heavy clouds, its golden light revealed a world washed clean yet utterly broken. Silence stretched over the land, save for the faint rustling of debris shifting in the soft breeze. Callum Hayes stood at the edge of what remained of his farm, his boots sinking into the sodden earth. His hands clenched into fists as he took in the devastation. The barn had collapsed, his fields were ruined, and everything he had built seemed to have been stolen away in the storm. He had endured hardship before, but this loss cut deeper than any before. The solitude that once brought him peace now felt like a heavy weight pressing down on his chest. A faint whimper broke through his thoughts. Turning sharply, he saw his dog, Ember, struggling to her feet from behind the wreckage. Her fur was matted with mud, her body trembling from exhaustion, yet her amber eyes locked onto his with unwavering trust. She barked softly, turning toward the remnants of the barn before glancing back at him. Callum followed her, his heart pounding. Beneath the fallen beams, something stirred. Pushing aside splintered wood and broken shingles, he uncovered a small, huddled mass. 4 tiny puppies, their damp fur clinging to their fragile frames. They whimpered, pressing into one another for warmth. His throat tightened. Even in the midst of destruction, life had found a way. Determined, Callum scooped up the trembling pups, cradling them against his chest. Ember licked each one, her protective instincts clear. The farm might have been broken, but he had found something worth saving. In the days that followed, Callum poured himself into rebuilding. He scavenged materials, repaired what he could, and made sure the puppies had a warm place to grow. Each day they grew stronger. The boldest among them, Flint, constantly explored beyond his nest, while Ash, the quietest, observed everything with keen eyes. Fern, the only female, was quick and clever, always the first to learn. And Birch, the largest, stayed close to Ember, his presence steady and sure. One afternoon, as Callum reinforced the last standing section of the barn, a voice called from the gate. "Excuse me, I hope I'm not interrupting." He turned to find a woman standing there, her auburn hair catching the sunlight, her green eyes filled with quiet understanding. Beside her stood a boy, no older than 10, gripping a bundle of blankets in his small hands. "I'm Mara," she said gently, "and this is my son Eli. We heard about the flood and wanted to offer some help." Callum hesitated. He had spent so long facing struggles alone, but something in Mara's voice, kind and unassuming, made him nod. "I won't say no to an extra pair of hands." From that moment, Mara and Eli became part of his days. The boy bonded instantly with the puppies, his laughter filling the quiet spaces between Callum's work. Mara, steady and patient, helped where she could, mending, planting, bringing warmth to a place that had felt empty for so long. As the weeks passed, Callum found himself looking forward to their company. What had begun as simple assistance slowly grew into something more. Conversations stretched into late evenings on the porch. A sense of belonging settled in, something he had not felt in years. By the time the first snow blanketed the farm, it no longer felt like a place of loss. It was home again. The puppies, now strong and full of energy, tumbled through the fresh snow, their playful barks echoing across the fields. Eli decorated a small tree by the porch, his excitement contagious. Inside, the fireplace crackled, casting flickering light against the walls. As Callum sat beside Mara, their hands brushing against each other, he let out a slow breath. He looked around at the land he had rebuilt, the people who had become his family, and the animals that had filled his life with joy once more. The storm had taken much, but it had given him something unexpected in return. A second chance, a new beginning, and a future worth holding on to.